Welcome everybody to another edition of Dan's Grand Valley Railroad. Hey, this week we're going to take a closer look at the yard that I built shortly after I finished the Grand Valley layout. I had added this extra part on the front here, and it's been requested by more than a few people. They wanted to see an in-depth look at how I did it, the different pieces of track that I used, how I laid it out, how I designed it, why I used cork. So that's what we're going to cover today. And then as the train's coming by, I just wanted to catch you up a little bit with the airplane cars. Looking pretty good. I've got them lightly weathered like we did on the video last week, and I've got the new KD longer couplers on there. They seem to be working very well, and off they go, looking pretty good. They're going to be a regular part of the layout now. So that was really fun. Please let me know in comments if you guys enjoyed that video of me weathering those cars and restoring them. That was a fun video to do. I like to do a lot of those kinds of things, so let me know. But that being said, back to this. Today we're going to take a look at how I came up with the yard situation for the Grand Valley Railroad. All right, so as you guys know, the Grand Valley layout is a 4x8, and I have it built on a 4x8 sheet of plywood on a bench that I built. And you can go back to the starting from scratch videos if you want to see how I did that. Unfortunately, I did not start the channel at that time when I was building it, so all I have are still photos. I don't have video. But then I quickly realized that if I wanted to be able to have any type of a bypass, if a train was sitting at the station, I was going to need some sort of a bypass or a yard or something. So I determined pretty early on that I wanted to add on to the bench. Now, I did have just a little bit extra, just anticipating that I would need something to set cars on or controllers. But I ended up adding on to that to make the bench even wider. And then, of course, added on this little yard here. And you can see we could add more on if we wanted to down the line. But right now, this is what I've got. So, again, to create some sort of a bypass, and it's not much, but it does allow a short train to sit here with, a train to be able to go around it. Otherwise, the only other way would have been on this spur line here that goes to the industries. You would have to back trains down in there, get them off the main line to run another one past. So I thought that the yard idea would be a good idea. Okay, so the first thing I did when I decided to add on the yard is figure out, how much I wanted. I have a little bit of a limited space between my bench and this bench to walk through, so I knew I didn't want it to come out this much. I already run into this when I walk past there. If you're not careful, break off these smokestacks and loosen the roof. So that was a concern of mine. So this is why I went with what I did. This is a piece of 1x8 pine, solid pine. So of course, 1x8 in today's standards means 3/4 by 7. And then this is 1x10, same thing, 3/4 by 9. So I just made little cleats. I just built this out. You can see right here how far out I built the bench, a little more than the layout required, so I could lay a piece of wood on there, make a nice shelf. So then on top of that, I just built these cleats. And here to support this shelf, planing them down so that they were the exact height that I needed to make the track be at the same height as the track on the layout. So that's very important. You want your height to be perfect. So however you make these cleats or legs, They have to be the right thickness to take into account this height, the thickness of the wood, and the thickness of the cork bed that I use. That's 1/4 inch, so that this track level is the same as this track level. Okay, so we started over here, of course, laid the wood. I've got a couple of seams in it. I believe one piece goes all the way to here. I have a video, for a long time I just left it right here. I have a video that you can go back and look where I add this part on in a different video. But for all intents and purposes today, we'll just talk about it as one unit. So the first thing I had to do was dig into here and remove the straight piece and install this switch. And I'll show you exactly what switch this is. All right, so this switch is a Atlas Code 83, and it's a right-hand manual snap switch, and you can see that it fits right in there. So that's your right-hand curve, your turn. Now you will notice one difference. That is, on this one, the control mechanism is over on the left side. I switched that. They are switchable. You can turn them around, and I made it over on this side because I didn't have enough room over there, and plus I wanted it over on this side. Now, another thing I just want to be clear on, I installed these ground throws on all of my switches. I thought they looked more realistic, and they're a little more positive. They're spring-loaded, and I have videos of me installing those, so you can go back and find those if you'd like. But they keep the track spring-loaded to the position that you select much better than these do. So that's why I went with those. So I had to use water, which helped undo the glue, dig this out, and put a switch in here. There is video. If you go back, you'll find video where I do this. And then, of course, same thing on the other side, only with a left-hand turnout. Same thing, just a left-hand turnout. So that gets us into here. Then you'll notice another right-hand turnout that turns this way. And then I like to use these re-railers everywhere I can, because not only do they look like a level crossing, if you look closely, they have a wood grain in them. They're supposed to look like a level crossing that you can drive over, but they re-rail the trains. So of course, if I'm having a bypass train, it's nice to have a re-railer just like I have there. So then you come over here. Here's another switch. This is a right-hand switch, and that connects us back to our main line. Of course, if you go straight, then I have 2 lines going to the end of the yard where, of course, I put in the Walther's 2-stall engine house. And this is a very nice model. I put lights in it, and you can see my trains in there. And then, of course, at the end, I put in the bumper stops. And, of course, on the other end, I have those 2 right there. And those are the same thing, Atlas Code 83 bumpers. And those are nice. You can see how they come in a kit. You can put them on the end of any piece of track. It doesn't have to be, a short piece or whatever, although they come that way too. This is just the bumpers that will install in any piece of track. So that's kind of a money-saving deal right there. All right, so back over here at the engine house, I suggest securing these wires to the walls. Once in a while, a locomotive will hang up on one. I need to get that done. But you can see I even weathered the cross beam in here, put a little rust on there because I had so much rust on the roof. I figured some leak through. So someday if I'm doing something real intricate here, some kind of a shot, you might see the rust up in there. So that was a little detail that I did. I have a video of me building this. It's a 2-part video where I build the Walther's 2-stall engine house. So check that one out. So then Of course, that came with this little gantry crane thing here, which I just, throw some... I think it actually came with these rings too, which are cool. So I just threw that stuff all around here, as this is like their little maintenance area. Of course, another railer here. This is just a little shack that I got last year at the train show, and put a light in there. I have a video of me doing that. Of course, another ground throw. So, of course, I wanted, when you come off this way, I wanted to have a switch over, a crossover, so you can go on either track that you want and go in either stall. So that's nice to have that. Nice little crossover. So, of course, ground throw, and a nice straight run here where you can line up box cars and all your extra cars. I don't usually park them here. I don't want somebody to run into them, knock them off the table. So usually I put mine away, or if I have a train going, I'll park it in the tunnel. As you can see, that protects it, keeps it out of the sun too. So I've got just a nice straight run here. And then, of course, as you come in this way with the switch, you could go to either the inside one or the outside. Then another switch here with another railer, which brings us down here to the tower. This is the, what do they call that? Interlocking tower, interestingly. And yeah, the light's on. It didn't look like it was on. I must have it kind of dim, but... So that's our little interlocking tower. So the way I decided to do this down here on that last video, if you look back about a year and a half ago, you'll see this video. I decided to branch off again to 2 lines. This, of course, allows for expansion someday if I want to go further or something like that. But I decided, I got this at the train show last year and decided to weather it up. So we made a little fueling station here. And I decided to tie it into my existing layout here by just cutting away a little bit right here, gluing down a piece of styrofoam, and then just painting the cork to make that a road that goes to the tower. So you've got a guy coming to work here, the other guy's leaving work, and he's just getting here, putting his hat on. And, of course, a parking space with a parking block and everything. And so a nice little access road and a stop sign for them when they go out on the main road. And then this is actually a level crossing that you can buy. And you can make it any length you want. And it glues down to the track. So that actually acts as a re-railer as well. But that's a nice little level crossing. And I put that there, figuring if they've got an oil delivery coming for maintenance or whatever, the truck can pull right across there, or, whatever. None of this stuff is glued down. I just haven't really finished it yet. I did put some weathering powder here to dirty up the ground, because obviously a lot of oil and grease and grime are there when they're fueling, so that's why I did that. But I will eventually add some more shrubbery and ground cover like I did here along there. I just haven't really decided if this is the way I'm going to keep it or not. So that's pretty much the way I did my yard and the way I laid out the track. Now, the reason I used cork on here is because I can take up this track very easily. It's just nailed down, little track nails. I can remove all that and redesign it any way I want. So if I decide I want to do something a little different, or whatever, I can change that track all around. It's not permanently down, where on the layout it's pretty much glued down, and without a whole lot of water and prying with putty knives and getting that all up, that would be almost impossible to get out. But here, these are all changeable. That's why I went with the cork. I did do a little bit more ground cover and design here. I will eventually do some more here and get this more finished out. But for the most part now, let me just step back a little bit. That's how the layout looks with that yard on the front. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed the yard video this week. I wanted to ask you, I am planning on doing a Grand Valley layout Q&A live show with neighbor Mike. And it'll not just be Grand Valley, but it'll be all of model railroading. Any questions that you guys would come up with and want to put in comments, we'll answer if we can. I'm thinking of doing that on a Saturday mid-morning-ish, noonish, so it wouldn't conflict with any of the other guys that do live videos. But I wanted to get your input on that. Please give me some comments below if you'd like to see a video like that where we talk about the Grand Valley. If you have any questions, we'll answer them live. And then, of course, anything to do with, railroad or even Markland European trains. Mike is pretty much an expert on that stuff. So, be just an open forum, and we'll run trains and we'll be interactive. If you guys want to see a different train run or different locomotives, Mike will bring over some, and we'll just have a good time. So I'm just wondering if that sounds like something you guys would want to see. So please leave me comments, let me know. And again, that's on the books. I'm hoping within a couple weeks to do that. So thank you guys. Again, I just want to remind you, we've got some hats and shirts and hoodies and cups and stuff down below. And I appreciate you guys with the super thanks. Thank you so much. That really helps support the channel. Appreciate you guys. Again, thank you to Bill S. for the really nice super thanks last time. And appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next video. Until then, take care.